At this moment, we're going to begin the 2016 State of the City Address. Please join me in welcoming the Honorable Mayor Tony T. Yarber.
Please be seated. Good evening. Let me just say before I even get started, y'all look good. And if I was in church, I'd tell you to look at your neighbor and tell your neighbor, neighbor, you look real good. Let me begin, first of all, by saying how excited I am for this opportunity, and want to especially say thank you all for the calls and for the text messages that we received on behalf of my wife on yesterday. We're grateful for that. She's at home resting. All is well. We are joined by her stand-ins, my oldest child, Carmen. Carmen, stand so they can see you, student at Jackson State University. The grandbaby, Braylon, who doesn't know what he's going to do yet, but he says that he just wants a lot of money. Braylon, wave so they can see you. My baby girl, Tony Michelle, who is a rising sixth grader, and I'm nervous about her going to middle school because I don't know if my baby can fight. Tony Michelle, stand and wave so they can see you, baby. And then my son, who every week he changes. Only thing that's consistent is he knows he wants to play football, and he knows he wants to have enough money to buy us a new house. So bless your heart, son. Stand so they can see you, a student at Northwest Middle School. And great day, and thank all of you. I want to begin, of course, by thanking my colleagues on the City Council. Mr. President, thank you all for being here. Thank you, Councilman Stokes, Councilman Stamps. Thank you for being here, Lady Hendricks. We've got the Deputy City Clerk and the City Clerk who's here with us, and then the Dean of the Council, Mr. Tillman. So good to see you all, and thank you for being here. Also to other elected officials, to those of you who are leaders in our amazing city, as well as to our city employees. We want to thank each and every one of you for being here, and thank you, the citizens of the bold new city of Jackson, Mississippi. I want to thank you not only for being here, but I want to thank you for your unwavering support and for your commitment to the city. I also want to extend a special thank you to the Convention Center for allowing us to be here in this beautiful facility, and thank you for joining me in Ward 7. Many of you are joining us online through various media outlets for the 2016 State of the City Address. You know, as I look around the auditorium tonight, you know, I feel the synergy that's in the room. And it doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't matter what your occupation is. It doesn't matter what your social status, what your race might be, what your religious belief is. Really doesn't matter whether you are blue or whether you are red. At the end of the day, we have all gathered here with one mission. We've come with one mind. And we've come on one accord, and that is to discuss the status of our beloved city, Jackson, Mississippi. You know, tonight is different it's different in the sense that this is the last official State of the City address in this current term. And tonight I welcome the obligation to give you a status, a realistic report on our city, and to provide you with an honest view of our progress. You know, during my address to you, I want to speak about tangible progress. I want to talk to you about the fact that over the course of the last 2 years, our city has pushed onward and upward. And not only have we done that, but we've done it while mitigating and in some cases eliminating a plethora of obstacles. You know, whether we're talking about misinformation being spread like wildfire, or whether we're talking about growing financial burdens, the city of Jackson has risen to the test. And tonight, I am here to share how our city is working towards becoming the bold new city. You know, every statistic tonight that we're going to share, we already understand that it's not going to be a positive statistic. As a matter of fact, we know that every goal that we've set, we haven't met them. We've not even overcome our financial burdens. And although we still have flaws to fix and to eliminate, real progress is definitely occurring. More importantly, this progress is occurring the right way, family. Last year, I spoke to you primarily about the city entering into one of the toughest budget seasons to date. And as a result, the city council and the administration, we were forced to make some really tough and unpopular decisions. Those decisions were made in order to ensure that our city's future was protected. In the midst of the city's fiscal storm, the administration successfully completed the first year of priority-based budgeting. You can ask some of our city department heads just how strenuous that task has been. And while doing that, it's allowed us to revamp our fiscal budget. It's allowed us to revamp our debt management. And it's also allowed us to revamp our investment management policies and procedures. And we've done that around priorities that we have set for the city. And as promised last year, we entered into a budget process that was the most transparent and most inclusive that this city has ever seen. You know, and as we go into the budget season and these budget deliberations begin for the upcoming year, the city will continue the process of being open and inclusive in its budgeting practices. Our budget for 2016 and 2017 is going to require us to impose even more reduction in spending, as well as hold our departments accountable for rendering quality service to our citizens. You know, you often hear me state that progress is a 24/7, 365-day-a-year process. You hear us say that, and we say that it's a job that requires diligence to stick with and through the process of progress. There's no better time than the present that declares this statement. Now, after closing last year's budget cycle in a deficit, millions of dollars worth, and even forecasting additional deficit for the upcoming year, this administration and the city council will be faced with a strenuous task. And our task will be the responsibility of balancing this budget. And we've got to do that while not eliminating core services. We've got to do that while ensuring that we don't eliminate things that ensure that you have safe drinking water. We have to do that without doing away with the kinds of quality services that not only you need, but you also deserve. When the current administration began this process, you know, a lot of folks doubted our ability to successfully conquer and overcome unresolved obstacles. You know, obstacles that we've all heard about, like our ongoing J-Tran transit services, which we have all said is the Achilles heel of the city. We've also know that some people have not even given us a chance to overcome the obstacle of the state of emergency in terms of the condition of our infrastructure. We've got a water billing system that has not been up to snuff, and we've been seeing people receive estimated bills that have created issues in the budgets of folks who cannot afford to see their budgets strained anymore. Not only that, but we've seen lead leaching into water service lines, entering into older homes. We've seen immense budgetary constraints, furloughs of great employees, where we've had to make a decision between furloughing them or laying them off. And we've done all of that even in the midst of a proposed airport takeover and someone's declaration that they'd absolutely take over the city. Well, ladies and gentlemen, although we have seen these seemingly difficult feats, we've also seen progress. And there are some who have harbored a sentiment that our city has not made meaningful progress over the last 2 years. And for those who think that the city has no momentum, I want to inform you that that is not the reality of the city and where we stand. You know, one of my favorite authors, Councilman Stamps, is John Maxwell. And John Maxwell often talks about and writes about the need for any organization to gain and maintain momentum. He eloquently talks about this story where he talks about how a train that goes 50 miles an hour is headed down the track, could easily plow through a 5-foot thick cement reinforced wall. But now you take that same train without any momentum, just cranking up, you can put a pebble on the track and that train will not move. You know, what Mr. Maxwell's philosophy on how to gain and maintain momentum, it enlightens us about the importance of understanding progress, which begins with starting and maintaining the process of progress. As Councilman Stokes always says, you've got to start somewhere. And so, ladies and gentlemen, this administration took over with the understanding that it had to start the process of change and reformation throughout the city. And this administration took on the process with the understanding that it would not be easy, that it would be a difficult task, that it would not happen overnight, that it would not be painless, and that if we were going to put politics first, that it would never happen. But we also knew that if we could just manifest change and not just talk about it, that if we could be about it, that this city would gain momentum to overcome its greatest challenges. Just ask Mrs. Mary Flint, who lives on Kimwood and has lived there since 1976. She said, and I quote, "I think it's wonderful to see something finally being done. These streets have been in trouble shape for years." Or you can ask Ms. Tamika Williams, who was pleased to see work being done on Wynn Street over in South Jackson. Or you can just ask Ms. Jasmine Fields, who is a city employee, who now has access to free health care through a clinic, and she is ecstatic that she doesn't have to go into this clinic and pay a copay or be burdened with wondering whether or not the physician is in the network. Ladies and gentlemen, this is progress. As a matter of fact, I'll be taking my children to that same clinic in the morning for a 10 o'clock appointment so that they can get their wellness checkups done and be prepared for school. So if it's good for the gander, it has to be good for the goose. You know, whether we're talking about our gains in infrastructure, improvement, quality of life for our citizens, or providing for employees with cost-saving measures that are accessible to them and their immediate family, we're talking about momentum. We are literally talking about this city moving forward. And as an administration, we inherited this wonderful city in 2015. It was a time when Jacksonians were terribly concerned with crime taking place in their communities, the state of our infrastructure, the lack of economic development. And not only that, but we were also worried about whether or not this city had the wherewithal to withstand going through 4 mayors in a matter of a couple of years. And since then, the city of Jackson has seen an amazing police department, the Jackson Police Department, become a national, that's right. You know, we've seen the Jackson Police Department become a national leader in its community-oriented policing efforts, which includes hosting a cops meeting every week throughout the city. The chief of police is called on by the White House to pen articles and to write op-eds about how we keep crime going down and keep our community engaged. JPD has implemented an in-depth engagement program, and this engagement program is one that helps us to have our community engaged in ways, from canvassing all the way from door to door, whether or not they're in Northeast Jackson or whether they're in South Jackson. It includes mentoring children through the PALS program and creating relationships with young men in our public schools. We've also seen the Jackson Police Department become a state-certified police department for the first time in this city's history. That's right, since 1822. Look, we took office when the crime rate was increasing. We've seen a 14.5% decrease in major crimes for 2015. And at the pace that this police department is going, we will see at least a 10% decrease this coming up year. These are real numbers. And what that means is 3,000 less crimes being committed on the streets of the city of Jackson by the end of this year. So contrary to what's being reported, contrary to what's being said, we are not a haven of refuge for delinquents. We have an outstanding and astounding 90% closure rate in our major crime rates. Now, I want to be clear that if you commit a crime in the city of Jackson, that the 390 uniformed men and women who serve diligently, they will come and find you and bring you to justice. 390. The Maple Lender study said that we should have 500. So we've got men and women who are every day going to work on our behalf. No, they may not get it right every time, and no, they may not have the best etiquette all the time, but they put their lives on the line to ensure that we have the opportunity to see the kind of numbers that are being produced. You know, this is the first time in a while that the city has experienced back-to-back decreases in major crime. We've even moved community improvement back under the police department. This is important. It was important to do that because we were able to put enforcement back into the code. So now code can enforce what the laws that are passed by this city council say that they can enforce. In the past 2 years, the city has demolished over 215 houses, which is more than we've seen take place in any of our recent memory. And not to mention the nearly 500 overgrown properties that the city has addressed to date. What's even more special is although more work is being done than in the past, not all of that work is on the city's dime. This group of amazing, brilliant people in community improvement, they've helped the city to save Councilman Stamps almost $1.7 million in cost savings over the last 2 years. And all they've done was picked up the phone and said, this is the Jackson Police Department. We need you to clean up your property in 10 days or we'll come in to see you. It's forced property owners to take responsibility and to cure their own violations. And on top of the efforts of code enforcement that they pioneered, the city has partnered with the Mississippi Housing Partnership and the Green and Healthy Homes Initiative to spend over $1.1 million in helping existing homeowners with repairs to their homes right in West Jackson, Councilman Tillman. This is an investment that has not been made in West Jackson in recent years, and I've told people not since Westland Plaza has been invested in. So West Jackson, we're coming for you, and we're coming to make you better. You know, this is proof, Beth, that consistency creates momentum. And as for infrastructure, this administration, we had ensured the delivery of the 1% sales tax commission so that your 1% sales tax funds are effectively distributed. The city then had to create, develop, and implement the infrastructure master plan in order to expend those 1% sales tax dollars. And not only did our Public Works Department create the plan, the city has since approved the first 2 years of the infrastructure master plan, and your city council has moved expeditiously to approve these projects, and now we are seeing this plan of millions of dollars that have been allotted to projects taking place throughout the city. That's enough to clap about. And these projects include $1.4 million at the Eastover Drive Waterline Project, or $5 million that's being spent with Operation Orange Cone Initiative. And this initiative includes resurfacing of streets in all 7 wards. You know, even projects tackling water line replacement on Wooddale Drive or drainage issues at Bellhaven Creek, they've been implemented, and we've filled over 62,000 potholes. I know if it's 3 million, 62,000 doesn't really seem like a lot. But we've got momentum. 450 utility cuts. I know out of 1,700, 450 may not be the mark on your street, but ladies and gentlemen, we have momentum. And as an administration, we've successfully obtained millions of dollars from outside agencies to cover infrastructure repairs throughout our city. Millions of dollars like the $3 million that were given for Mill Street by the Mississippi Department of Transportation, or the $16.5 million that was given by the U.S. Department of Transportation that will assist us as we move forward on West County Line Road, the one that has been known as the road to nowhere, and we are moving the needle. Ladies and gentlemen, this is momentum. You know, we've got a commitment, and that commitment is to not just be politically expedient. And being politically expedient sometimes means that in our haste to fix the streets, we just throw asphalt down. But we decided that we wanted to fix our streets and our infrastructure intentionally, with integrity and with transparency. You know, there's a street out in South Jackson. Councilman from Ward 6 can attest that Suncrest Drive was paved some years ago. And when Suncrest was paved, not many years after that, a water line broke on Suncrest. We had to dig up Suncrest, and that street was paved with a $26 million bond from 2008, a bond that you all are still paying on. And after we dug up the street that you're still paying the bill on, we went back and repaired a water line. But that was done, and your money was wasted because we did not take the time to measure twice in order to cut once. But the diligence of this council, the diligence of our public works team, and the diligence of this administration has been to ensure that your money is being spent the right way. And as a result of that, this momentum is working in our favor. We're seeing buy-in from state and from federal agencies who understand the vision and the direction of this administration and the city. The values and quantity and quality are often misconstrued. You know, that's typical, and it's been typically the case in the city of Jackson as it relates to economic development and our efforts around economic development. But since taking office, this city has progressed. Let me repeat, this city has progressed economically. Just go and ask the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, and they'll tell you that in 2014, unemployment in the city of Jackson was at 7%. Right now, to date, unemployment sits at 5%, and that is lower than the state of Mississippi's average. The city, through its Jobs for Jacksonians program, has worked with over 117 companies to help over 1,400 Jacksonians become gainfully employed. The city of Jackson's total value increased by 2%. Which gives the city's real and personal property a value of $1.2 billion. And that's $650 million over what is the total of Hinds County altogether. Sales tax in construction, wholesale, and food service from the first half of 2016 compared to the first half of 2014 is up by over 10% or $2 million. The proof is in the pudding. Our Neighbors First program that was started to give citizens the opportunity to own unsightly properties in their area and put them back on the tax roll. To date, 65% of eligible properties in the program are now under contract. The value of the permits being pulled in Jackson for construction rose by 10.7%, and there is $79 million of townhomes and multifamily construction going on in our city right now. So don't believe anybody when they say that Jackson is not worth investing in. Ask the $79 million investors. Again, it's momentum. It's momentum at work, and that momentum is contagious, family. You know, even entertainment in the city of Jackson has never been in such high demand. In 2014, Thalia Mara did not meet its budget for revenue. And the city auditorium seemed to be on its last leg. But with the energy and dedication of our Human and Cultural Services Department, Michael Raff, Kamikaze, those men and their team have been able to see Thalia Mara Hall triple its expected revenue in 1 year alone. I say triple. I feel a church moment, so look at your neighbor and say, the proof is in the pudding. Jackson's Auditorium is host to Broadway series, high-caliber performers, internationally recognized competitions. As a matter of fact, Thalia Mara Hall was so great, it was so great that one of the premier comedians of our time, he had to do 3 shows. Y'all know his name. Who is he? Kevin Hart. Kevin Hart, he had to do 3 shows. Why? Because we are indeed a place that supports the efforts that go on. We've got organized competitions, and we've got not only those things that I named, but we have you. We got the best people in the world. The Jackson Convention, that's right. I said the best people in the world, she clapped. Maybe think about what my daddy used to say all the time. There's a poor dog won't wag its own tail. So I'll try it again, and maybe y'all can get it. The best people in the world. The Jackson Convention and Visitors Bureau cited that over 2.6 million people visited the bold new city. That momentum is spilling over into events throughout the city where preliminary numbers show an increase in participation in our major events. We're moving forward, and we have improved the way that we govern by implementing data-savvy practices that have placed the city in not just national, but the international spotlight for our efforts in open data, performance management, and innovation. We have provided countless incentives for our employees that offer them with discounted services at major businesses throughout the city. As a matter of fact, one of those businesses is a great business partner here in the city of Jackson, and that's Gray Daniels, where now as a city employee, you can go and purchase a vehicle for the same amount that you could if you worked there. That's right. And from the sounds of that, we hadn't gotten the word out good enough to our city employees. I heard a bunch of whats? You mean to tell me I went somewhere else? Not only that, Mr. Tillman, but we also, as has been mentioned, the City of Jackson Healthcare Clinic that's at the Metro Center Mall. The clinic provides free service to all city employees on our health plan and each of their dependents. And it's not only going to give our employees an opportunity to save an out-of-the-pocket expense, but it also provides a cost savings for the city of Jackson as well. Look, we're not just moving forward, but we're moving upward. And there is no question that the city of Jackson has made enormous strides over the last 2 years, and we cannot let that truth escape us. It has been said, and it's been said countless of times by Councilman Stamps, that bad news screams while good news whispers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give you the charge today that when you leave here, that you scream the good news of Jackson, Mississippi. That we have a message that we are not only moving onward and upward, but that we are striving. And as the city strives to continue to move upward in quality of life, public safety, innovation, in infrastructure improvement, in economic development, we also have to ensure that every citizen in our city is taken care of. Whether you are a part of the disabled community, whether you are a part of the homosexual community, whether you are a part of the religious community, you, my friends, are Jackson, and we are obligated to take care of you. But we also have to be realistic about the path forward. The fact that next year's problems won't allow us to rest on this year's accomplishments. We must continue making strong, disciplined decisions about this upcoming budget. As revenue numbers are finally showing signs of improvement, it's imperative that we are fiscally responsible and ensure that the city's coffers are replenished. We have seen a decrease in major crime over the past few years, but we still have to see an end to black men killing each other. It's senseless. We've got to continue to support each other in love and spread a message of compassion and hope. We must be vigilant to speak out about injustice and always ready to stand firm. We need good police officers to report terrible police officers. We need great teachers to report lousy teachers. And we need to continue to be our brother's keeper. We've seen improvements in our ability to attract major business to this city. And there are several on the horizon, but we must be sure that Jacksonians are afforded the chance to work in these companies with fair wages and acceptable working conditions and opportunities for professional growth. In other words, let me put it plainly, just because you build a hotel and you tell us that you will hire a certain number of Jacksonians, we do more than maid service. Put us in the front office. We've seen improvements in our infrastructure, but there are many more pipes, potholes, streets, and bridges that need to be addressed. We must not lose sight of the task that has been placed before us. That task is to do things the right way, regardless of the whiplash. 2 years ago, we sat down as a team and we talked about this. And we said, we much rather do things the right way and people be mad with us for taking too long to do it than to do it the political way. And in 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, Carmen, Tony, Cameron, and Braylon have to suffer from our desire to be reelected than our desire to be servants of God's people. And so as the city continues to push forward, there's plenty of work for each of us to do in the upcoming years. The reality of progress is that it is a never-ending process, and it requires constant review and redevelopment. My sentiments from 2014 State of the City Address, they remain. Where I said that I ask that we all dedicate time, talents, and all of the resources necessary to produce true progress in our community. To my colleagues on the council, I ask that we work together to make Jackson the best place to work, to live, and to play. As a city, we are more than capable of moving forward. And we don't have to agree about how we get there, but it will take the collective genius of all citizens to keep our great city in motion. That momentum, that movement has already started to take place all over our city. Ladies and gentlemen, we are moving upward and forward. I want to take just a second to talk to you about what I like to call the L quadrant. The L quadrant simply says it this way, that you're either losing, you're lucky, you're learning, or you're leading. If you're losing, it means that you've got issues, you have problems. Because of those, you're losing, and you don't even know why. Lucky says that every now and then things go well, but you can't really put your finger on it. You don't have the data to support or to track what the best practices are, what the worst practices are. And so if you were to graph that, you would have highs and lows, and you can't graph or determine what those trends are that determine best practices. Then you have learning. Learning says, yeah, we've got a lot of problems. Yeah, sometimes we lose, but we also win. But we not only know why we're winning, but we also know why we're losing. And we're putting things in place in order to get us on the right track. And finally, you have leading. So, ladies and gentlemen, I declare to you today that the state of our city is learning. We are learning. Learning means that we are growing to be stronger. Leading is where we want to be. But the reality is that we have not addressed all of our problems. I mean, just yesterday, while in St. Dominic Hospital, I ran into a lady who was getting her blood pressure checked, and she stopped the lady from taking her blood pressure because she saw her mayor walking through. She stopped me with her finger pointing, and she said, "Come here." I said, "Yes, ma'am." She said, "I heard your wife's sick. I don't mean no disrespect, but I ain't gonna never see you no more probably, and my water bill too high." The reality is that is her reality. And that, ladies and gentlemen, we are learning. But learning means that we have momentum. Learning means that this train is moving, and that even as we have aging infrastructure, crime, a lack of economic development at times, and even the lack of stability in leadership at the local level, recently, all of these obstacles the city has overcome. You know, in all honesty, the city of Jackson, our citizens have overcome every major thing that's been thrown at you. So your attitude ought to be, come on, what's next? We are Jackson, and we are built for this. While it may not be time to celebrate just yet, you know, it's evident that the municipality is making strides towards becoming a world-class city. We've got a zoo in West Jackson that desperately needs its people to re-engage it. You want the animals better? Go spend some money so we can get better animals. We have to reinvest in ourselves so that we can continue to see the momentum of progress on our side. This administration isn't just content with just letting that forward motion go to waste. In the continued years, yeah, I said it, in the continued years, the city will continue to implement every year of the infrastructure master plan. And we're going to build on the opportunity to continue adding jobs right here in Jackson. We'll continue to add jobs in Jackson. There will be no roads. There will be no avenues. There will be no highways that go around Jackson, but all business begins and ends in your capital city. Now, administration, in partnership with Hines Community College and Working Together Jackson, started in October 2015 a program that is designed to train Jackson residents in core skills in the following industries: construction, IT, advanced manufacturing, and healthcare, and actively assist in placing each one of these participants in a living wage career. We call it Jackson 500. And to date, we have over 110 participants in the program with the goal of reaching 500 over the next 2 years. What that says is that to every contractor who's going to do business on our infrastructure, you don't have to bring people to work. We're training people to work. Last year, or later rather this year, the city will move forward with commission approval of years 3, 4, and 5 of our infrastructure master plan projects. We will continue to use the momentum of our federal and state relationships to bring in more funding for project completion in the capital city of Mississippi. And we're going to do that despite political opposition. We're going to do that in a way that we ensure that whether people agree with us at the State House or not, we're going to leverage those opportunities to pull in the resources that we need to move our city forward. We're going to use this momentum to continue the healing process of our budget hemorrhaging. And as we stated last year, our budget issues they will not be solved overnight. The movement of our priority-based budget is helping the city shape new budget practices. And for the first time, the city actually has a policy that governs the expenditure of funds. Can you imagine the capital city of Mississippi not having a fiscal policy? Something that has never existed before for a capital city. We're going to continue to use our momentum to be thought leaders in the realm of data and analytics. And over the course of the next few years, we're going to build relationships with every major university and college in our city to provide real-life opportunities for data analyzation that we believe will help refine processes and procedures in our city. Our vision to see Jackson as a destination city it rests on this momentum. Our ability to continue seeing an influx of visitors, high demand for entertainment, and upticks in spending at restaurants, hotels, and business establishments throughout the city, it rests on this momentum. We will build on this momentum by keeping our feet to the gas. A continued decline in crime, a continued increase in dealing with nuisance properties, a continued increase in departmental efficiency, a continued dedication to providing you with results and not excuses. These are the things that momentum allows us to push forward. As the progress of the last 2 years helps us gain enough speed to plow through our long-standing issues, this group of leaders, the mayor, city council, the team, city staff and workers, we are implementing the same bold vision that we spoke of in 2014. That vision states that we will transform the city of Jackson into a destination city that is a leader in innovation, education, infrastructure stability. It states that we will cultivate an environment that is safe and conducive to entrepreneurial endeavors. The vision states that you and me and anyone else that enters this jurisdiction, that we are Jackson. We are all Jackson. And if we are Jackson, we must be diligent. And we've got to be diligent enough to stay the course. We've got to realize that our petty differences should never interfere with our main priorities. We are here today because we believe in the promising future of this city. I'm here today because you trusted me and my ability to lead us into that promise. I remember the letters, the calls, and the constant reminders that I have received over this time as your mayor. Every time I'm fighting to keep this momentum going. And whether it's the single mother who lost her son to senseless violence, or whether it's the father who's looking for living wages to support his family, or the business professional who's hungry for premier talent, or the young college graduate who's searching for an opportunity to make a difference in their community. Each life that I come in contact with while in this office, it makes progress relevant. The city is working for you, and we are moving ahead for you. This city is concerned with you, and we're concerned about you. The city may not have arrived yet. No, we may not have every pothole filled, and we may not have all 2,200 lane miles of street resurfaced. We may not even have figured out how to ensure that every resident gets billed on time and that you're not getting estimates when you do. Nope, we're not a perfect group of people, but no family is. Consider your own. Every family has somebody that everybody isn't proud of, but at the end of the day, you know what? They're still family. Doesn't matter whether it's Uncle Bubba or Cousin Luke, Aunt Maybelle or Sister Soldier. They're still family. And while the city may not have arrived at its destiny yet, I guarantee you that this train is moving. Jackson, Mississippi is on the move. There is no greater momentum than the power of unifying with understanding. And again, although we may never agree on all of the issues, we must agree to continue fighting for the good of our beloved city. Jackson, Mississippi, the crossroads of the South, the city with soul, the bold new city. It doesn't matter what her tagline is. It doesn't matter what we call her. Her reality will always be that she is home to the most progressive, resilient group of individuals that grace this earth. We are Jackson. God bless you. God bless the city of Jackson. And God bless the United States of America. And thank you for coming. Thank you, sir. Thank y'all.